We are back. Episode number 5, Game of Inches, Mayflower Sports. I'm Andrew. He is Jake. We're both feeling a little bit under the weather, a little bit tired, but the show must go on. It's allergies, it's tiredness, it's fatigue. But everyone always says you can sleep when you're dead. Jake, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, buddy. Happy to be back. Feeling a little bit under the weather, like you said, but what a crazy weekend we had. Can't wait to get into it, man.
It's crazy, and we're gonna start things off with the Poirier versus Mcgregor recap. We touched on it on our last podcast. We had Harry on to preview the fight. Well, Mcgregor didn't get it done, man. Second round TKO from Dustin Poirier. We watched the fight. We had a poker night with all the boys, and despite the fact that we were all pretty deep into the drinks, it was very clear who the better fighter was that night. The leg kicks were incredible. Poirier got the job done.
Yeah, man. Honestly, Poirier did exactly what he probably should have had to do if he thought he was going to win the fight. The leg kicks really started to wear on Conor after the first round. You could noticeably tell the welts on his leg. He even mixed in a couple takedowns, which I don't think Conor was expecting at all. I don't think I was expecting very much from that department either. But the big thing for me is Conor isn't the fighter that he used to be. I don't want to take it away from Poirier because Poirier did a lot for the victory. But Conor, to me, just looks like a prize fighter now. He's just the guy that everybody's going to call out for a quick payday. You might win or you might lose, but the game plan's out there to beat Conor. You attack the legs. You get through those first 2 rounds. Dustin didn't even have to get through the second round. He just made it through the first round, and Conor got noticeably tired. And me and you were talking. It's pretty crazy how much money Vegas probably won off of Poirier. Like, I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No, I don't think so either. And, the value was definitely there on Poirier, but the reason why that Vegas was able to have the odds the way they are is because they just knew that no matter what the price they set, people were going to bet McGregor. And I swear Vegas could have had it at minus 450 for McGregor, and some people still would have bet on him. And that's what's crazy. So to your point about him being a prize fighter, it kind of sucks because you see his post-fight interview. Like, I watched the entire press conference with him and Poirier, then I watched what Dana White had to say following the fights. And it's sad because even himself, he even said, he's like, I don't even feel that upset. And to me, I was like, holy shit, like that's kind of like, that makes me a little bit, unsettled just hearing someone say that after losing like that. Everyone's talking right now about saying like Khabib humbled Conor. And I just got to say, like, I watch a lot of like motivational videos. I watch a lot of that type of stuff and the podcasting, and there's a couple out there with McGregor, and like people seem to forget that, not that it matters if you don't come from much, but like he didn't come from anything. He lived in like a poor part of Ireland. He was doing like trade work, and he didn't like that, wasn't too good with it, built his way up. Like, it was a joke for an Irishman to even make the UFC, let alone hold 2 belts. And so like when you mention the whole aspect of motivation, it's crazy because like, we all know how much he made when he fought Floyd. And then we all know, the Nick Diaz or the Nate Diaz fight, like the trilogy is going to happen potentially with that. So it's crazy to think because, and you got to say, my biggest point that I made last week on our episode 4 was strictly that he only fought for 45 seconds against Cowboy Cerrone, and his next fight is now against the #1 contender, like Dustin Poirier. So, I mean, we're all talking at our poker night and we're discussing like, yeah, but who else is he going to fight before that? But he even said it himself. He goes, if you fight a lot and you get in this octagon quite often, you're going to get cozy. I love Conor's terminology, by the way. It's hilarious, the words that he uses. I just love. And he says, you're going to be unsettled pretty much if you're not in the octagon much, and the comfortability isn't there. And obviously the leg kicks were crazy, but can we both agree that that was definitely a factor? I mean, how often this guy has actually fought recently? Remember back when he was quote for quote hungry, when he was fighting like 4 times a year?
Yeah, man, definitely. The other thing too, I definitely agree with that. I would also say like making $100 million doesn't make you want to get punched in the face very much,
Yeah.
It is like people take it as a joke, but it's like it's quite literal. Like, that's generational money. Like, that changes your perspective on a lot of things. And I know he's an athlete, he's a fighter, he's a warrior. To me, though, he just doesn't, like you say, have that drive anymore. Like, he went in there, and after the first round, like when he didn't get Dustin out of there, he looked defeated coming into the second round already. Like, to me, I just don't know what Conor wants to be anymore in the UFC. Like, it's kind of like he has 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and I understand that because there's more money to be made out there than just the UFC. But he needs to get all in again, like you said, like fighting 2, 3, 4 times a year if he has to. For me, I called him the Muppet King today because like that's how he makes me feel. Like everything's a show. Like nothing at this point in Conor's career makes me feel like he actually wants to go and get the belt again. Like, do you feel like he talks a lot, but like just from the way he acts, do you think he wants to go get the belt again? Because to me, after seeing that performance against Dustin, we'll exclude the Cowboy performance because that was what it was. And then the Khabib performance, 2 out of his last 3 fights, the guys that were willing to hang in there and put that pressure on him made him wilt.
Yeah. The thing is, though, like, we do have to like put out there the fact that like every fight, and that's what everybody was saying to me, is that like every fight that he's going to go in is going to be against the best. Right. So like he's not like in the Cowboy fight was the Cowboy fight. And I understand it ended a lot earlier than it probably should have or could have potentially gone. But that's just the thing, is that from now on and the rest of his life, the rest of his career, whether it's boxing or probably UFC, if it's boxing, it's just for money. But for UFC, he's fighting the best. Right. So it all goes back to the whole octagon rust thing. But I think I would disagree with the whole motivation thing as far as like from now on, because I feel like this is what he needed to regain that. You know, like when he had his interview after the fight and they were like, does this mean we're going to see you again? He instantly was like, oh yeah, like you're not getting rid of me, because like now it's all about pride. Like I understand your angle about money, right? Because it's true. Like if you give me $100 million a year, like who knows how much someone changes, you know? Hopefully you don't want someone's personality to change and them to change as a person, but your hunger could change and all that kind of stuff. But now that he lost, it's not about the money anymore. I bet you they could offer him, a lot less in his next fight, and he doesn't even give a shit about the money anymore. It's about the pride and his legacy. Like he was talking about in one of his pre-game or pre-fight interviews how, or prior to the fight a couple of days, how he was like, man, I just can't wait to like be old and look back and watch highlight tapes with my kid and watch my fights. Like, I don't think he's really, because he already has enough money. Like you said, you talked about generational money. Like he could literally play in the sand with his kid at the beach for the rest of their lives and be fine. Like he could not do anything ever again. And he has enough money. He has his own whiskey, So I feel like he needed a puck in the head to actually get motivated again. Like if he would have gone out there and knocked out Poirier, then he would have just not fought again for like a whole year and milked the crap out of it. But I feel like that helped him. That will help him at least get back in the ring sooner, get back in the octagon sooner and regain that. So I don't know. I don't want to say I'm not surprised because I can't lie and say, oh yeah, I called Poirier, but I've been saying for a while, guys like that, when you just go back, fight Cowboy, all of a sudden you're feeling great and you're saying the king is back. How is the king back when Poirier has gone through wars and back, and all of a sudden all you did was, have a 45-second fight?
Yeah, see, but I want to go back to what you said previous about like where we're disagreeing on the perspective and, the hunger, right? My mom always told me actions speak louder than words. So every time Conor talks, he gives you that rah-rah, like we're warriors, I'm coming back, this is my kingdom, blah, blah, blah. Like I started this. And then we get into the fight, and to me, like nothing changed. Like it was still the same, like go, go, go out the gate. And by the second round, he was gassed. And that's something we've known about Conor. Like this wasn't the first time we've seen him just gas out.
Yeah. He's throwing haymakers too early in the fight.
And that's the thing. And his fight style is a twitch fight style. He's very like flinchy. He's not like, he doesn't need much to set it up, but everything he throws is quick and fast and hard. So when he's landing and not knocking Dustin out, like that's going to take a toll on Conor physically as well and mentally. And to me, Conor's game still shows those same like fragileness mentally, where if he doesn't just get a guy out of there right away, like he's in real trouble. Like he knows he's in real trouble. You could see when Dustin got him up against the fence, like Dustin hit him with 2 shots and Connor was like, literally had that look on his face like he was too tired to get out of the way of the shots anymore.
Yeah.
It was like, let's
And his
turtle
leg,
up.
though. His leg was done, too, though.
His leg was done. But, like, leg kicks are a part of the fight. Like, I know I don't want to get into, like, certain leg kicks and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, this guy did that. But, like, that's a part of the game. Like, you have to hide that super well. And he fought one of the – I know he knocked Jose Aldo out in, like, 6 seconds or whatever it was. But he must have trained for Jose's kicks because Jose is one of the best kickers in the world. So, like, to me, his game just hasn't evolved that much. Like, I just keep getting that rah-rah, and I'm not, like, I can't get behind the rah-rah anymore. Like, to me, I'm not excited to see Connor and Nate 3 or Dustin and Connor 3. Like, to me, Connor, I just don't have that feel for Connor anymore. He doesn't make me excited. Like, this whole fight week, I was excited for the fight, but I wasn't particularly excited for Connor anymore. Just because I know what we're going to get now when he fights the top guys. He's going to give you the rah-rah, and then he's going to go out there, and if he doesn't starch him in like 35 seconds, Connor has a real chance to lose the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't argue that. It's true. And it's funny because he always makes these predictions like, I'm going to knock him out in 1 minute. And now you and I are going to be saying, well, you better. You better knock him out in 1 minute or else you're going to lose. So, yeah, I agree with you. And, like, I don't know much about fighting. I've never been in a fight in my life. But when you are throwing that much power, like he is, like, I watched back the highlights. If you look, like, some of the haymakers he was throwing and then missing, like, that makes you drain so much energy, not connecting on something like that. And,
Definitely.
you know, Poirier was just backing up. So, you know, hats off to Poirier, though. Great game plan from his coaching staff and all of his trainers and everybody, his whole team. So, hats off to him. The respect between both parties was great. I think everybody has their own opinion on Connor, and he's said a few things and he's chirped people. And, you know, there was some stuff that he said about Khabib that I just can't mess with. Same thing with like religion and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think Khabib's also that kind of like big, nice guy everyone says he is too. He loves to talk smack too. But everyone's saying that Khabib humbled Connor. I think Connor was always a great guy. He just knew how to sell fights, and he knew how to promote himself, and that's why he's a multimillionaire, soon to be billionaire. But I agree. I look forward to us previewing his next fight, though, because it'll be definitely a whole new angle than the last time we previewed it. And I just want to ask you, because you know a lot more about these potential fights than I do. Like, what's the next move here for Poirier? I mean, who does he fight? Because we didn't really touch on it, but Chandler and Hooker, like, that was crazy as well, man. That was a quick one.
Yeah. Unless I'm Dustin, realistically, I'm asking for a title shot, or I'm asking for Connor 3, or I'm asking for that fight with Nate. Those are the two biggest guys in the division money-wise. You know, Khabib's probably not coming back this year, probably next year. So for me, it's either the title shot or he's got to go for that money fight for Nate or Connor again. I think Connor would probably sell more just because, you know, it's 1-1. We saw it. We just saw it. Like, there's that recency in your brain. Nate and Dustin would probably be the better fight, in my opinion. They both are great boxers. They both love to get in there and swing. Like, Nate also has that ground game, but like, he's probably not going to use that. He's down just to stand there and bang. And it would be nice to see something a little bit different. But if I had my money, it's either he's fighting for the title or he's fighting Connor again.
And before we move on to our NFL talk here, let's not forget, McGregor went 5 rounds with Nate Diaz. We can't forget that. That was a long time ago, but he did go 5 rounds with him. So maybe he gets back to a better training style and a better camp, and he can go to the distance. But you pretty much laid it out, Jake, like just straight up. And you're just like, yeah, I mean, if this goes past a round and a half, his odds are going down. If you're live betting and you see this fight past a round and a half, chances are McGregor's in trouble. So it's true. So I look forward to seeing the next time McGregor can be in a fight and last that long and get the win. And I'll be curious to see if that does happen again. But besides the fact, the hype was there. It was pretty exciting, but the leg kicks happened. And pretty much after that, a few clean shots. And like you said, McGregor just looked demoralized. We'll come right back here on the Game of Inches podcast. We'll talk NFC or NFL Conference Championship review. I mean, some crazy games. I'm pissed off as a Packers fan. The Bills go down. Look forward to talking about it right after this break.
The Full Circle Realty team specializes in commercial, residential, and property management by taking a distinctive entrepreneurial approach to help clients and customers find their next investment. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate in 2021, contact the team today at info@fullcirclerealty.ca to learn more about buying and selling homes in 2021.
All right, we are back here on the Game of Inches podcast, Mayflower Sports. He is Jake. I am Andrew. This is episode 5. We talked about the Mcgregor defeat. Now it's time to talk about the NFL. We are off to the Super Bowl. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, the baby goat, taking on the GOAT, Tom Brady. Look, obviously it's Chiefs versus Buccaneers. Buccaneers get there in 31-26 fashion. They defeat my Green Bay Packers. Man, am I pissed off. It was gutting, especially when all of our friends are Patriots fans, and all of a sudden now they're just Buccaneers fans because the Patriots suck without Tom Brady. So now they're just Buccaneers fans. And I'll tell you, man, I feel like a Leafs fan right now. I feel like a Leafs fan right now because the Green Bay Packers always just get there and then don't get it done. I mean, at least they make it to this point and then don't get it done. But now I know what it's like to be a Leafs fan, because this is just a really demoralizing feeling, man. Like, just seeing how the coaching staff lets Aaron Rodgers down with the play calling, with not going for it on that 4th down. I'm surprised that Aaron Rodgers didn't run that in, at least run it, the most part, and then slide, and then, it's 3 or 4 yards to go. Shocking. The play calling even before that drive, shocking to me. And then to your point, Jake, before you even say it, I know what you're going to say. 3 picks from Brady, and they can't capitalize on it. That's the Packers' fault. Nobody else to blame but themselves. They're looking for Devontae Adams far too much. They have Allen Lazard open downfield countless times, trying to look for the number 1 guy too often. It sucks to see. It sucks to see the quotes we're seeing from Aaron Rodgers after about he doesn't know what the future holds for him and some other guys in the team. And then they go ahead and draft a quarterback. Last year's draft, Jordan Love to sit on the bench in their 1st round. It's just disgusting to see. I don't want to see Rodgers leave, but it's hard to really blame him if he does at this point, man. I'm pissed.
Yeah, we had a long discussion in the group chat about our feelings about the game. Saturday night, I do want to point out, drunk as hell, I literally called how this game was going to go. I said whoever scored the most points off the turnovers was going to win the game. That's all that mattered. We knew there was going to be some turnovers in this game. Both defenses are capable of turnovers. Both quarterbacks can be prone to turnovers very seldomly, but they do happen. So to me, I just figured it wasn't going to be as many turnovers, but I figured a turnover or 2 would be the difference in the game. And I know everybody's harping on the Lazard PI versus the PI for the Buccaneers that pretty much sealed the game. To me, the game, we have to look at this game from like a whole point of view. Like, I know it's easy to get bogged down into like certain moments because those are like the key moments of the game. But to me, like the whole game told a way different story than like what the last like couple minutes of that game made it to be. Mm-hmm. We saw Tom Brady throw that touchdown to Scotty Miller at halftime. Completely changed the game. Changed the game. And then we saw to come out to second half, we said in the group chat again, like the Packers defense needs to get going here. Like there's no chance if they don't get at least a turnover. They went out and got 3. Like 3 turnovers from Tom Brady in an NFC championship game. That's literally unheard of.
Yeah.
And the boys turned that into 6 points.
Yeah.
Like, and then the other thing that not a lot of people are talking about is how badly the Packers got dominated at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. They couldn't run the ball for a lick.
No.
It sucks that Aaron Jones got hurt, but A.J. Dillon or Jamal Williams didn't pick up the slack. And then on the defensive side of the ball, we just saw them get absolutely no pressure really on Tom. Like Tom made the mistakes. Like 2 of the throws I would say were maybe Tom's fault, but the first one to Evans, that was all Evans' fault. So to me, like, the Packers didn't really deserve to win the game. It just sucks how you guys lost the game. I think that's what stings a little bit more to people, is that the game was in hand. You know, you didn't turn any of those turnover points into actual points. And then LaFleur decides to go for the field goal. And I kind of get the decision, but I wasn't behind it. Like, I understood it, but I would have been aggressive. I have Aaron Rodgers. Let's go for it.
Well, I mean, the way the defense played all game.
Exactly. If you're going to win the game, he's going to win you the game. Like, the defense isn't going to win you the game. And, you know, that's sometimes, like, I said it to somebody about talking about Aaron Rodgers, like, the blind love. Like, Matt LaFleur made me feel like he had blind love for the defense. Like, he didn't just watch what was going on all game. Like, he just thought because it was a big moment, his defense was going to step up. And, you know, they didn't. They didn't the whole game, to be honest. But I want to ask you something, because you weren't in the group chat when we were talking about this. And I feel like I might have been a little too harsh, but I also feel like I might be kind of onto something. Like, Aaron Rodgers is 1-4 in conference games, and you can go back to the defense and all the various things that happened to him over those 5 games. But Brady went into the NFC this year and has as many conference championships wins as Aaron Rodgers. Like what's going on? Like, is it the team? Like, to me, I pose the question, is he really a winning quarterback? You know, like, is he really that guy that's going to drive you to the Super Bowl and win? Because we've had 5 chances to see it. We've only seen it once. And people will make the excuse for the defenses, or for him having the bad defense, but it's a team game. Like, when something's slack and it's your job to kind of elevate and pick it up in some aspect. And I just don't think he's really done that in the conference finals or championship. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument, and there's no denying it, and we could all definitely say that he hasn't gotten it done, obviously. I mean, but if you look at it, 48 pass attempts, he completes 33. He reached 3 passing touchdowns, 346 yards. I mean, I'm not just a stats guy, but Brady had 280, right? Rodgers had 346. Brady had 280. Let's keep in mind, Brady aired the ball out. Like, he aired the ball out more than we've seen in years from him. Like, that Scotty Miller pass was something that the boys make fun of me for saying that Brady can't do, and he did it, right? But he still had 280 compared to Rodgers' 346. So I get it. I mean, it's the same thing in a lot of sports. I mean, your point guard has to be good in basketball. Your quarterback has to be great, and a lot of the blame falls on them. But, like, maybe I'm being biased, man, because I'm a Packers fan. But, like, the coaching has something to do with it, because in that first half, if you look at the stats and the percentage, the pass completion percentage from Rodgers, it really doesn't make any sense how they only put up 10 points. Like, it was pinpoint accuracy. There were no drop passes. Like, it was everything in his power wasn't even going too wrong. Like, I don't know. Like, and maybe I'm defending him, right? But
let me change the question then, because I definitely get what you're saying. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm shitting on Aaron Rodgers.
You're just spitting facts. You're just spitting facts. Like, I get it.
But I don't like the way I phrase that, because that's kind of a little bit of a slander, and it kind of disregards, like, the other things that happened in those games, like those 4 losses, sorry. So to me, now I want to change the question to, is Aaron Rodgers more a numbers quarterback than a winning quarterback? Is that a fair thing to say at this point? Like, I know he has regular season wins and playoff wins, and he is a winning quarterback, but, like, when the games matter now, like, he has 1 Super Bowl and it was 10 years ago. Like,
yeah, I mean, I was seeing reports today of people, and we'll never know about these intangibles because you can never see it happen. But, like, and you know, Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, all those guys, their takes are outlandish. But a lot of guys right now are even saying they're taking credit away from Patrick Mahomes with the talent that he has on the team, right? A lot of people are saying, yeah, put Deshaun Watson on that team and see exactly how far they go, right? See how well they do. Yeah. I'm not saying Green Bay lacks talent, but, you know, that's obviously Brady made some crazy plays, but you can't deny stats. You can't deny what you're seeing from the numbers and stuff like that. So as of right now, I could try and think of dozens of reasons to defend him, but to your point, maybe he is, you know, maybe so. And I just wanted to get a quick lick in on the the penalties and the flags, because that flag that came down in the end, to your point, it's how the game ended. The Packers did not deserve to win that game. They didn't. But
No,
it's how the last 2 minutes went that's really gonna just piss off Packers fans. And like I have the ability to see they didn't deserve to win that game, but I sent pictures to our group chat, and we can even post them on this video if I go to the effort of posting them and show the fact there was like 3 or 4 clear holds that weren't called. And I'm sure if I had a Bucks fan here, they would say there were a bunch of more holds called. But the commentators were saying all game long, they're letting them get away with everything. They aren't calling anything. And I understand, like he flopped a little bit. He did fall. His jersey was clearly held on to. So you have to call it. It just sucks that you can point out so many other moments in the game where that didn't happen. But to the point, the fact that they would have lost that game, they deserve to lose anyway, it kind of sucks. And, you go for that play on 4th down, you get in. Rodgers runs that on 3rd down, 4 yards to go, runs it in. All of a sudden, they get the 2-point conversion. They're tied up. Let the defense go to work, go to overtime, see what happens. We can create these intangibles, but the Patriots get the job done. I can't wait for our Super Bowl preview, man. It's going to be awesome previewing that big game.
Yeah, I know you're used to Tom being on the Patriots, but the Bucks are moving on. Just
oh, geez, the Bucks, yeah.
I'm just playing, but
did I say the Patriots?
Yeah, definitely. But it's all good. We're used to Tom synonymous with that franchise. We'll always have that picture in our minds of Tom, not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But
that's actually hilarious. I said the Patriots.
To your point, though, it's also the fact that how late the flag came in. Like, it would be hard to go back and see like what's the latest flag ever thrown, but like that's gotta be in the conversation. Like that was crazy. Like Tony Romo literally paused for like 7 seconds and was like, "Oh, there's the flag." After 7 seconds, like,
well, that's how you know he thought about throwing it. He's probably like, "Should I throw this or not?"
But
and the funny thing is,
sorry, no, sorry, not that. That's a good point, and my point to that is you as a referee, if you have to think about whether it's a foul or not, don't call it. Like the way they called the game, they didn't think about calling anything. So I know that's a foul and it's their job to call that. But the way the game was called, that realistically probably shouldn't have been called. And, Tom might have got a reputation call or someone might have got a reputation call or who knows, right? We don't know what the reasoning is for them calling, but I definitely agree that it sucks to lose that way, and especially how late that flag came in.
But as a Packers fan, like I'm not bitter about that. Like that's the last thing that I'm pissed off about, honestly. The biggest thing that I'll say I'm pissed off about is not even that last drive, not even the decision not to go for it on 4th down. It was actually the play calling in the previous drive before that. Like the Packers are famous for, it being like 1st and 10, and all of a sudden they go for it, a 30-yard pass, don't get it, 2nd and 10, go for a 20-yard pass. Like they will never just throw like a 5-yard screen pass and see what happens. Like it's not in their blood. But I don't know. Like sometimes when it's down to crunch time like that, you can't be just taking shots every time. Like, did you notice that too, Jake? Like they refused to just throw 10-yard checkdowns. It was constant 15, 20, 25-yard shots.
This goes back to me to like the battle at the line of scrimmage. Like Rodgers really didn't have like that much time. I think it's Billy Turner was filling in for Bakhtiari. He got messed up by Shaquille Barrett all game. Like all game, that guy was getting after Rodgers, right? So for me, I think Rodgers was just, when it got to that point, he knew he really didn't have the time. And as a veteran quarterback, like we saw in the Chiefs game and the Bills game, like Allen kept getting out of the pocket, but it didn't work, right? It's better to stay in the pocket and move up in the pocket and then throw instead of trying to get out, reset and throw. Rodgers didn't have that time. So to me, Rodgers was just seeing his first look or what the best matchup pre-play was, and just that's where he was going. So to me, I think it was a lot of like pre-planning at the snap to him to be like, all right, I know I got like 2.5 seconds, drop back, and get rid of this ball the way our offensive line's playing. So to me, I think he thought that he had more time or a better chance to not get the ball picked off by just constantly going deep, because he knew he was either overthrowing it or someone like Lazard or Devontae Adams going to make a crazy catch and boom, they're right into the red zone. And like, now let's get our offense going.
Yeah.
But to you, like, the play calling was right. Like, they didn't run the ball. I think they had I think it was like 17 runs in the entire game. And I know the run game was non-existent for them, but that's a big part of their shtick. Like, Aaron Jones, play action, that's a big thing for the Packers. And they didn't have that last night. And I just think the Bucks really didn't deserve to win either. But of the two teams, I think they deserve to win more than the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, 16 rush attempts for the Green Bay Packers. 16 from them. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. I don't have nearly as much to say about Buffalo and Kansas City. That's why we spend so much time on that one. Obviously, I'll get your take as well on it. But look, 38 points. You put up 38 points. You better be making your way to the Super Bowl and getting your chance back there to go back to back. I mean, you're not going to lose too many games in this game of football scoring 30 points. It's just how it is. The Bills, a moment I can take away from this one, which is floating around social media right now, Stephon Diggs hanging out in the field after the game, watching the Chiefs celebrate their victory. Meanwhile, all his teammates are in the locker room. They're young and they're going to be great for the next couple of years. But I said that I thought that it was going to be kind of two same style teams up against each other. But what ended up happening was it was actually the Mahomes show of anything you can do, I can do better. But again, Mahomes gets a lot of credit, but let's not take away how special Travis Kelce is getting two touchdowns, how special Tyreek Hill is. I mean, they're special, man.
Man, Mahomes is so lucky, and I just think we take that for granted a lot, that like, he is a once-in-a-generation player, but he also has two other once-in-a-generation players on his team as well. Like, Tyreek Hill broke the Chiefs record last night for receiving yards in a game. Travis Kelce broke the record for I think catches in a game for any Chiefs player. And then they both, I think, went over 150 yards, if I'm correct. So to me, it sucks that my boys lost. I said I was Bills Mafia for the playoff run. I was all in on that. I had a great time. It was great to cheer them on, but the better team won. Like, everybody was saying, and I was saying it too, like, what happens if he gets hit again? If it's a neck injury, it could get worse. The toe, that guy went out there and just balled out on the Bills defense. The Bills went up 9-0. We were all excited in the group chat, getting hype. And then all of a sudden it was halftime and the GC was just silent. No one saying anything. Everybody knew what was happening. There was no comeback for the Bills. The Chiefs defense played a good game, I will say that. The Bills, like we say, spotty defense, and they're playing the best offense in the NFL. They just got ran over. It was a complete mismatch.
What about the field goals, Jake? What about all the field goals from the Bills?
Yeah, that's tough, right? I'm not a coach, so I do like to get into this talk sometimes, but I always find it hard to be like, well, I would have done this, because I don't really know, like, when it comes down to like game management, like what McDermott was thinking. But you are right. Like, you kind of have to go for it, but they also just don't want to leave points on the field. I get that. Like, you can't just leave points on the field against the Chiefs, because you're never going to win. If you go for it every time and you don't get any of them, you're not coming back, versus if you're just taking those field goals and then maybe you get a turnover and then maybe you get another turnover and you're back into it. But for me, just the better team won. The Chiefs, I think, are going to be too hard to beat for the Bucks, man. Like, we're going to get into that different, but just from what I saw last night, the Chiefs are crazy. Like, if they can do that, like, they could do that to the Bucks defense, no problem. Like, we could see Mahomes literally go on a back-to-back-to-back. Like, there's no end in sight for this team to me. Like, I know that the cap is going down next year, and that's like the first time that's like ever happened in the NFL. But I'm excited, man. I don't want to look too far ahead, but I really enjoyed what I saw out of the Chiefs last night, even though I'm Bills Mafia. It just sucks that our boy Josh Allen didn't get a chance to go to the Super Bowl. I think he had an excellent season. I know the NFL doesn't really have a most improved award, but I think he would definitely take that home, no questions asked. He had the largest jump in pass percentage from last year to this year by over 11 points. Like, he just had a really good year, and I don't want to take anything away from that team. I think that team exceeded many people's expectations by making it this far. I was really big on them at the start of the season out of training camp. I said that they were probably going to win the division after they picked up Stephon Diggs. And to your point, that makes me happy that Diggs stayed out there. Like, that's his first year there, and he's watching another team celebrate going to the Super Bowl. And instead of going in and being with his team and sulking, he wanted to soak that in and remember that. Like, guys use that, especially the top athletes, as fuel in going into next year. And I think the Bills next year, we could see them back in the same spot.
Definitely. I can't wait to get into our preview of the Super Bowl, man. Like, I heard it all day. The baby goat against the actual goat. I'm not much of a guy to use that word and throw that around, but I thought it was kind of funny. It's going to be a crazy game. On our episode 6, our next podcast,
before we move on, buddy.
We'll get into it.
I got one question for you just before we move on.
Yeah.
So I saw our buddy Elias put this in the group chat. If Mahomes somehow wins, do you think he's on the Mount Rushmore already?
No.
No? Okay.
But it depends who you ask. I mean, like, it goes to your own question about the stats, right? What you asked me is Rodgers a stats guy? You'll never know about these intangibles. But like I said, like, all the talking heads on ESPN are saying throw Deshaun Watson on that team, and he leads them, to a conference championship game. So
yeah,
that's the question, right? And it's not taking anything away from Mahomes, but it's kind of just like, hey, like, this guy. Let's be honest here. The boys, for some reason, think I'm a Tom Brady hater. I'm not. I just don't, I don't want to, kiss him on the lips like his son does. but I mean, like, the fact is like, he has not had talented teams. Like, he has not always had the best support around him. Mahomes has always had amazing support around him, and that's something we can definitely mention. And we'll get into on our next podcast, episode 6. Before we close things out for episode 5, we're going to touch on a pretty big trade that happened in the NHL. Pierre-Luc Dubois traded to the Winnipeg for Patrik Laine. So it's a 3rd-round pick going to Winnipeg, and Jack Roslovic is going to the Columbus Blue Jackets, as well as Patrik Laine. Roslovic is actually from Columbus, so that was kind of a cool little side part of that trade. 3rd-round pick goes to the Winnipeg Jets. If you ask me who won this trade, I mean, both these guys wanted out, but I saw a pretty funny tweet, and I don't know if, we got anybody watching this that's actually going to be from any of these places, but it was pretty much just saying, like, this guy just got traded to the Winnipeg of America, and this guy just got traded to the Columbus of Canada, 2 places not a lot of people want to be living in. I know some people that have been to Winnipeg, and they don't go back. So I mean, 2 places that, it's like, hey, congratulations, you got out of Columbus. Now you're going to Manitoba. I actually think both teams benefit equally. I'm not going to try and make up a hot take just for the sake of doing it. I think both teams could potentially benefit. But one thing I will say, Laine is an aggressive player. He's proved that he's not scared out there on the ice. Like, he's not going to back down, but he's not going to fight. He's not going to actually go at it with the big guys, but Dubois just added way more size to the Jets than there already was. Like, I talked to a guy in the NHL or from works around the NHL, and he's like, man, like, do you see how big these players are? Like, I'm pretty sure Winnipeg is maybe the number 1 or top 3 for average weight and height on their team. And now they're adding Dubois, huge power forward. It's huge for them.
Yeah, man. I personally, this is just my own take, and I feel like this is probably a pretty common take, that franchise centermen are a lot more valuable than franchise wingers. I know there's still time we're going to have lots of time to see how this plays out. We know Laine is going to be an RFA next year. It's going to be really expensive to qualify him. I think just to qualify him, it's like almost $8 million or somewhere in and around there. So if he doesn't want to go back there, if they have a disappointing year or miss out on the playoffs, like, that could be a really sticky situation. And I know Dubois wanted to go to a quote unquote, bigger market, but Winnipeg is a hockey market. I know
Oh yeah.
it's freezing cold there. There's not much there, but the people are behind their team. They want to see their team do well. And the province and everybody involved with that team wants to see them do well. And we've seen that so far, how passionate the Winnipeg Jets fans are. And I feel like Dubois really might embrace that. He might not like living there, but he's already lived in the cold. Like he's already lived in a place where, it's not a huge city. Like I feel like he could really thrive there. And to your point with the size, like down the middle now, like they're massive, like Scheifele and Dubois down the middle for the 1-2 punch. And then you got Brian Little coming back. And then you got Adam Lowry, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Adam Lowry on the fourth line. Like 3 out of your 4 centers are quote unquote power forwards. And then you add in Blake Wheeler. Like there's so many things that this Winnipeg team can do with this lineup and just shift guys around and be creative. And I think they can actually get the best out of this trade more than Columbus can. I feel like we know what we're going to get out of Laine. You kind of need to play him with somebody that's going to pass him the puck. He really likes to shoot it. Dubois can do a little bit more. He can facilitate the game. He can drive the net. He can dish it off. Like he's a real weapon for the Winnipeg Jets. And I think that this really could have changed the landscape of the Canadian division. I think Winnipeg now could easily creep into like the 1st or 2nd seed. Connor Hellebuck's amazing. The defense is still, it is what it is, but there's still room to improve and add on that. But their top 9 is deadly, man. Absolutely deadly.
Yeah, we'll get into more of the NHL on our next pod, but I just want to say, I don't want to overreact. We're 10 days into the season. I think the nature of this division, and we had a buddy, Ox was talking about how he thought that this division's pretty much settled. I actually agree. Winnipeg, Calgary, Montreal, Toronto. That's it. That's the playoffs for the North Division. I truthfully think that's the makeup of this division, and I can't really see an argument for anything else other than that. I mean, it's obviously so early, but I think the West Division is looking more competitive right now than the North.
Yeah, Colorado's pissing me off. I don't even want to go there today. The hell is going on with us, man? Just before we go, I actually do want to touch on this because this is something that I feel like goes unnoticed.
Let's hear it.
So my big thing was this offseason, the boys were going crazy over Taze and Saad. I really like Taze. I think he's a really important add. He really solidifies that top 4 for us on defense. To me, Saad was almost an unnecessary pickup, and we can see like how much he's getting paid versus where he's playing now. Like he's playing on the 3rd line. I think his highest ice time this season was like 15 or 16 minutes. So like even on the power play, he's still not getting huge minutes. We should have saved all the assets that we traded for him, which wasn't very much. And then the prospects we had, we should have went and made a move to get a real goaltender. I'm not happy with Grubauer. Like I like Grubauer. I like what he brings, but to me, he's a 1B or a 2. He's not a 1A. Franco's had a nice little run in the playoffs when Grubauer went down, but him too. He's probably more of a 2 or a 3. If you ask me, he's a really good goalie, but we need to go get a goalie like Joe Sakic. I know it sucks because we have so many good prospects, but Bauer's got to go. Maybe Newhook got to go, and a first round pick, and we got to go get a goalie. Like we got to go get a real number 1 goalie. I know Montreal's still in the thick of things, but if something happens with Montreal, I think we should be all over Carey Price. I think if something happens where they start to tail away or Edmonton picks it back up, I know they're going to make it. I know they're going to make it.
I know what you mean.
This is something that I thought we should have did in the offseason. I thought there was rumors about Price not getting traded, but a little bit unhappy. And,
you guys should go after Robin Leonard. That's what you guys should do. You guys should grab Robin Leonard from the Vegas.
I'm not big on Robin Leonard either, man. Like to me, he's a really good goalie, and I've seen him play a bit, but not a huge amount. But to me, he seemed like, to me, also seems like if he's not running hot, like he's super shaky between the pipes. I want a goalie like, and I don't want to go back to the Patrick Waugh trade, but that's what this reminds me of. I want to go get Carey Price, the best goalie in the NHL, pair him with one of the best teams in the NHL, and let's go win a cup.
If you're getting Price, it's going to be in like 2 or 3 years.
By then it's too late, but that was just me. That's just a quick little rant about the goalie situation. I know it's not the only.
It would be hilarious to see that happen, though, wouldn't it? Because it would be the exact same teams too. Like it'd be like, all right, you know what, Carey, we tried to build a team, and this is coming from a Habs fan. It would actually be the exact same thing because they got Suzuki. We've got amazing prospects right now, but we pick up Toffoli. We got Jake Allen, the backup. We got Edmondson. Clearly, the Habs made somewhat of a push this offseason. But if it doesn't work out or in the next, like, even I'll say 2 years, right, we're pushing him off onto somewhere else. But right now, hey, we're number 1 in the division. We're at the top of the North Division. We're not going to do anything right now. But no,
I like
I
you
get
guys.
it.
I like you guys. I think you guys are going to be money this year. I think you guys made a really, really smart decision in the offseason, bringing in Jake Allen and Toffoli and Edmondson. Like, all your guys' pickups were just really good. And I think you guys are going to have an awesome year.
Music to my ears. Next time you guys see us, it'll be episode 6, Game of Inches, Mayflower Sports. We're just cruising along here, guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, share it with your friends. Hit the like button. Give us a 5-star rating so we can keep doing this. We enjoy doing it. We have fun doing it. And we look forward to our next episode. Thanks a lot to Jake, and we'll see you guys next episode.